Hello and welcome to Plugged In. Today we're at BC Kidney Days, so join us as we meet members of the BC renal medical community and share highlights of the presentations and all the buzz taking place at this educational event. Then we're back at the Fright Night Fashion Gala in Saskatoon to talk with Ed Kuntz, who'll be celebrating his 39th year as a kidney transplant recipient. It's all here next on Plugged In.
So as a renal community, we know that there's many personal, family, and social issues that affect the well-being of our patients and families in conjunction with the complex medical conditions. Each affects the other, and we need to look at both the big picture and the personalization of the situation. To help us explore and appreciate some of the social determinants of health which impact our patients, I'd like to introduce Heather Johnson is the Director of Programs at BC and Yukon Branch. Heather has been instrumental in developing various services for BC renal patients.
We all know the interrelationship between chronic kidney disease and economic well-being. And sadly, the kind of expenses incurred by CKD patients often come at a time when people are less able to work, maybe even having to leave the workforce, or a caregiver has to take time off work to support them. Substantial costs, these are obvious, relating to the management of CKD. It can be, as already mentioned, dental or home care, supplemental food costs. There's a lot of expenses that people might not think about at the beginning of this renal journey. Now, in Canada, a lot of people wind up on disability because of chronic kidney disease. $217 million a year, about $28 million for BC residents. More than that, people are on PWD, persons with disability, which I believe for a single person is about $1,133 a month. So it's quite a hit when somebody can't work because of chronic kidney disease. At the Kidney Foundation, the second largest expense for our budgets across the country is financial assistance to kidney patients. But it's not enough. It's only for those people that are very low income. The BC and Yukon branch spends about $100,000 a year and supports about 400 people through our short-term financial assistance program. But those that are still low income but above our criteria, they're fending for themselves. Now, we're fortunate in BC that all electrical and plumbing installation costs relating to home dialysis are covered by BC Renal, which is fantastic. However, there's often hydro expenses and water expenses that people need to know about if they're going on home therapies. Ontario actually has some municipalities that forgive additional water costs, but BC doesn't seem to. I phoned around to some major centers, and if they're on metered water, people just have to pay the difference. One of the things that I've been concerned about for a long time is dental costs, because a lot of countries that have universal health care include dental in that, but Canada doesn't. And it's a health concern. You may be on track to be assessed for transplant, but dental can be very expensive. And certainly the renal social workers in the room will recognize that some people have to have all their teeth removed and dentures. They have to have crowns and root canals. Very, very expensive. And this is something that I'll talk about in a minute, that the Kidney Foundation would like to do some advocacy around. There's a new program, and it's very short term. So if anyone wants their patients to access it, they'd have to get on it right away. It's only until January 31st of 2019, but it's a new pilot project with the BC Dental Association and the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty. So you can refer patients to this program, and they can get up to $1,000 of dental work done. Hopefully they'll realize the importance of it, and maybe the pilot project would become something long-term.
So I'm here with Fritz from St. Paul's Hospital. Welcome, Wayne. Thank you, Deb. It's great to be here at BC Kidney Days.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you do at St. Paul's?
Yeah, I am a manager, one of the managers in the renal program at St. Paul's Hospital. So I'm very lucky that I get to manage the kidney care clinic, so the start of coming into the renal program at St. Paul's Hospital. I manage the transplant program, the peritoneal dialysis program, along with the renal inpatient unit.
Wow, you've got a big job. Wayne, can you tell me just what do you like best about your role?
You know what? People ask me about my role, and it's sort of the jack of all trades, but really I'm there to give the staff the tools they need to care for the patients and family that have renal disease.
And we're at BC Kidney Days today. What do you hope to get out of the next couple of days?
You know, I really enjoy BC Kidney Days for the networking. Like the provincial renal program is a great program, and this is where I get to connect with my other colleagues in other health authorities and touch base with them and see how they're going and meet up and do that. And it's also, I enjoy the fact that we get to bring a lot of our own staff in for BC Kidney Days, and they get updated on new trends and what's going on in renal disease.
Well, it sounds like you're going to have a busy couple of days. Thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us today.
Thank you, it was a pleasure.
The Kidney Foundation of Canada BC Yukon branch offers a number of programs and services to kidney patients. Today I'll be introducing Hugh MacLennan, who will speak about his experience at our kidney suite, Janine Tronis, who will talk about her child at kidney camp, and Tom Sine, who will talk about being a living donor mentor.
I was all of a sudden on the list for a transplant, and I read all the literature, found out that means you have to spend possibly 3 months in Vancouver. Well, of course, we know what accommodation costs in Vancouver, and we're looking at something like $200 a night or more. I mean, I'm just a poor broadcaster and a poor rancher. Somebody said, I know you're a poor broadcaster, I heard. But we thought, what are we going to do? We don't have any relatives. We don't know anybody in Vancouver to stay with. And then the social worker told us about the kidney suites, so we applied. And man, oh man, that was so nice to know that if a transplant came up, that was a possibility. But I'll tell you, we were somewhat stressed in that situation. You know, I just come out of surgery and I didn't know exactly what to expect, but it's really, in my case, not that bad at all. And we got to the suite and oh my gosh, it was just amazing. Everything we needed. It had a big screen TV with all the sports channels, so I never missed a Canucks game. The World Juniors were on at that time. Had great Wi-Fi, so I was able to carry on business. Right from the time we moved into the suite. And I've done this syndicated radio show for about 27 years now. Been a bit of a challenge to keep it going, but I had enough shows recorded ahead of time that I thought, okay, if I can get by 2 weeks, I can do that. So this was probably a week and a half after we moved into the suite. But anyway, with the great Wi-Fi in the suite at Steve's Manor, it was certainly possible to carry on business. So I produced 5 programs altogether while we were there. And Steve's Manor is kind of at West Point grade, and it's about a 3 or 4 minute walk from Jericho Beach. And that was just a real lifesaver. I mean, we're used to wide open spaces and big country and a long ways from neighbors. And here we are in almost downtown Vancouver, totally out of our element. We're within 3 or 4 minutes. We're walking along those beautiful hiking paths. We're watching the ships walk out to the big dock and watch all the craft fishermen bringing in their catches and everything. And that was just a huge lifesaver for us. And I think we walk just about every day, rain or shine. Yeah, our 56th anniversary is coming up in April. She has just been the rock through all of this. I wish she was here right now. She took me to the airport this morning, and we've been texting back and forth because people say, you know, we see you two walking along holding hands on Jericho Beach and everywhere you go when you're downtown. How come you do that? And I just say, well, simply, if I let go, she goes shopping. And she turned around and said, yeah, if I let go, he gets lost. And that's absolutely true. So the Steve's Manor Suite was great. I don't think we ever did get to meet Steve, but we really did enjoy it. And the cost, I mean, my goodness, $25 a month compared to $200 a night. Like, there's no way we could have done that. You know, I don't know how we would have actually managed. We might have to turn down the transplant or something. So I just can't say enough about the fundraising that provides something like the kidney suites for the patients, because you're under a fair bit of stress when this is going on. And at least that's one thing that you know is looked after and it's covered, and it takes a lot of stress away. And as far as the recovery,
we know about transportation, what a problem it is in this huge province of ours. People having to travel long distance for dialysis. Many patients must consider the costs of travel and accommodation if they're going to train for home dialysis therapies. As it happens, St. Paul's Hospital, Providence Health, they're actually looking at this and trying to figure out ways to support people with travel, so perhaps more people would be able to consider home dialysis therapies. Medication, BC far and away is trendsetters and role models for the rest of the country. So, Saskatchewan has a bit of a program, but certainly I'm sure Shannon will take back information for Ontario, because a great job is done here with providing medications for renal patients. Some of you know that the Fair Pharmacare program is going to be improved for low-income people next year, and this is great news. So there'll be no deductible for prescriptions to families with a household income of less than $30,000. Of course, everyone has to file their income tax in order to qualify for Fair Pharmacare. We've tried to help with accommodation costs because we know this is another financial hit for CKD patients. Someone comes for transplant, you've got to come. You know, Ontario actually has a number of transplant sites around the province, but everyone comes to Vancouver for transplantation. And kidney patients are told they need to stay about 2 months, maybe longer, post-transplant. So in the year 2000, we realized we should do something, and we opened our first suite, and now we have 7 kidney suites. And that has been just about the right amount of kidney suites to book people in for a month or 2, whatever they need post-transplant. People that are low income can stay for free, and people that are above our criteria currently just pay $25 a night. This was the first year this summer, maybe more transplants were done. Maybe they were more out of town people that needed a suite, that we had a wait list, and that really hurt us, because we were trying to shoehorn people into these suites as much as possible, because otherwise people were paying thousands of dollars for hotels.
My daughter Eva was diagnosed with CKD when she was 5.5, and now she's 12, and she's been going to kidney camp ever since. And you know, I pepper in a few little stories. Just, you know, I remember dropping her off the first year, and I cried the whole way home. It was silly, but knowing that she was going to have a wonderful experience, but I was the one going through separation anxiety. So Eva's been going to camp ever since. She has anxiety and usually experiences the anxiousness of leaving every year, but as soon as she sees her friends she's made over the years, I become invisible, which is fantastic. And so she's learned many things and grown so much at attending kidney camp. She's been able to connect with her peers and been able to talk to her cabin mates about their medications and experiences, and a support network that has been created outside of camp. Now that she's a tween, they, you know, exchange their emails and such. And that's not something that would have happened otherwise. These conversations and experiences have been able to make her feel normal, which is not something that she can do with even her best friends at school. So Eva's shy at starting anything new, but has come home from camp as the years have gone by trying something new every year. She loves sea safari, geocaching, bracelet making, campfires, and dance night. She's even managed to face her fears and get up and perform at skid night. One of the nurses, Lori Paye, commented that what a big change they've seen in Eva over the years. In fact, just this last Sunday, when Eva was going to bed, Eva commented that she missed camp. I'd say that was a seal of approval. We're very lucky to have the Kidney Foundation to financially support the kidney camp. So much time, effort, and love is put into it every year. It is because of them and the amazing renal nurses that give up their time to be there every year that Eva is able to have this wonderful experience. And as a mother, it means everything that she has.
Today we are here speaking with longtime Saskatchewan resident Ed Coots. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Thank you.
So I understand congratulations are in order. Next week you are turning 79 years young. So happy birthday.
Well, thank you. That is correct. That would be a milestone for me.
A milestone for you. And I think there's another milestone coming up in your life, another reason to celebrate, because this coming April, your kidney transplant, your kidney is celebrating its 30th anniversary, which is just remarkable. So
April 16th.
April 16th. And when you consider that, you know, we were speaking earlier, the average life expectancy for a kidney transplant is up to 12 years, and for a living kidney transplant, maybe 15 to 20. And here you are, closing in on 30 years, so congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's remarkable for me. I'm very fortunate.
You were diagnosed with kidney disease at quite a young age, and at the time you said, I never thought I would live to the age that you are today.
Well, back when I had kidney problems, they were just starting with dialysis, and I wasn't aware of kidney transplants.
And what year were we?
I was diagnosed first in 1964, and I spent 6 years at the university, or 6 years, pardon me, 6 weeks at the University Hospital in Saskatoon, and basically doing tests, and they finally sent me home and said there wasn't anything they could do for me. And they told me about
Had they diagnosed you with kidney disease at the
Yes, they
time?
had diagnosed me with acute nephritis.
Okay.
And they said 10% could get better, 10% could get worse, and 80% might stay the same.
Okay.
And I was among the 80% for about 20-some years. And
You held your course.
I held my course for that long,
Wow.
yes.
And then you went on dialysis.
In 1987, I went on dialysis, and I was amazed how much it helped. I felt so much better. The dialysis was good, and
Because your kidney function was probably declining pretty fast before you were, at a...
I avoided dialysis as long as I could.
As long as you could, yeah.
My albumin was up to about 1,400 when I went on dialysis, which is very high. But I learned very quick on dialysis, if I really looked after myself, watched my diet, what I ate and I drank, I'd go and they'd dialyze me, I'd get off the dialysis and go to work and felt great. So.
Wow, you were able to hold down work during this time, because I know for a lot of people dialysis, it really impacts your quality of life. So for you, the fact that you were able to manage that is
Yeah, we
very
had
good.
one nurse that used to come in about 6:30 in the morning, and I was supposed to be there at 7. Well, I'd be there at 6:30 waiting for her. She'd put me on the machine, and I'd
You just wanted to get this over
get
with,
it
yeah.
done and get going, yeah. So it was very good.
So you were on dialysis for not a long period of time before you got your transplant.
No, about 2 years.
2
I was
years.
2 years. Then in '89, I got my transplant,
And the rest is history, as they say, because
That's
here
right.
you're trucking in on 30 years, and I think, would it be fair to say your quality of life has been really very good?
It really has. When you say it's a second chance at life, it really is. I was able to. I went back and I played old-timers hockey for 12 years. We were able to travel.
And I should mention that Ed was just at the Transplant Games in Vancouver this past summer.
That's right.
One of your other many activities.
Yes, which we enjoyed very much. I think Vancouver did a great job in putting on the games. We all enjoyed it from Saskatchewan. So it was a good time.
And to be with all those other people who, not just kidney transplants, heart, lung, there you all are. It's just, it's remarkable to see how well people are doing and the types of activities that how it just changes their lives.
Well, what I found very amazing was the young people that were involved, and the number of people that participated, and I think the thing we all have to be thankful for and aware of is if it wasn't for donors, none of this would be possible. We have great doctors, nurses, medical care, but the donor is, without donors this wouldn't happen, and I would like to encourage everybody to sign their donor cards and help somebody in the future.
Well, Ed, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today, and hearing your remarkable story about how you've kept this kidney for so long and you're doing so well. I think you're a real inspiration to a lot of people out there.
Well, I hope I can be, let people know that there is life after kidney disease. It can be very rewarding.
Well, here's to another 30 with that transplant.
That would be great.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Travel insurance is an issue for people. If people can even get travel insurance with a pre-existing condition, they're going to be paying more for it. Yet another financial burden. So over the last 5 years, we've realized that a lot of our funds go towards supporting people with accommodation and travel. That's usually gas cards and some accommodation hotels. We do make exception for people with extraordinary travel because the province is so big, and it's $1,200 grant in a calendar year. Typically that's people that need to go to a bigger urban center for fistula creation or transplant assessment, post-transplant follow-up, and the home dialysis training as well. So there's a few things that really strike us, and probably you guys as well, but definitely the Kidney Foundation, that how can we help reduce the financial burden of traveling to and from dialysis, which is very costly for many people in remote areas, traveling for home dialysis training, and this dental costs, which is something that really concerns me. People having to incur those costs before they can move on for transplant. So I would just put it out to you, we have a booth out there, the Kidney Foundation, and if anyone has ideas about what we can do better with limited resources to support kidney patients in BC, we're absolutely open to hear that. Thank you. So I wanted to talk about the Living Organ Donor Expense Reimbursement Program. BC was the first in the continent to offer reimbursement for living donors. We started this program in 2006. So far, we've reimbursed over 1,200 people that were either went through and were living donors or were assessed to be living donors. Some local, there's many more than that, but some people don't claim their expenses, particularly if they're local. But we have had people from around the world, Israel, countries in Africa, Australia, New Zealand, all over North America that have to come here. Sometimes they have to fly here even for assessment. Like the Australian woman recently had to fly all the way from Australia to be assessed. So, these expenses can really add up. So the LODER program is really critical for a lot of these people, and particularly those who say, I would like to donate my kidney, I'm not a match, what can happen now? And they're told about the paired exchange program. I mean, I think living donors are real sports to begin with, but to be told that in order to make this work, you have to travel across the country and stay somewhere, and particularly Montreal, where they may speak French, that's incredible. So I'd like to introduce to you Tom Sine. Tom Sine will tell his story, but he's got two bits here. One, his living donor experience and the reimbursement he received, but also the next program I want to talk about, which is the Living Donor Mentor Program. So he had such a good experience that in talking to him on the phone about LODER reimbursement, he said, is there anything I can do to help? And I told him about our Living Donor Mentor Program.
My recipient ended up actually in Montreal. So I had the luxury of the Kidney Foundation's help, and myself and a companion, my niece, actually my sister-in-law's oldest, who's a 36-year-old RCMP, she came and supported me while her mom was getting a kidney in Vancouver at St. Paul's. I was in McGill Hospital in Montreal donating a kidney, so it was fantastic. The Loader program, I can't say enough about it. It's like probably the majority of people in this expensive province. I live somewhat paycheck to paycheck, not quite, but not always have a lot of money put aside for major expenses. My expenses for the travel to and from Montreal was in the neighborhood of $3,000. In fact, $2,878 was what I submitted for the thing, and that was for flights for both myself and Sarah, all our meals, all our hotels, transportation to and from the hospital, and everything like that. So it's a huge lift when it's not a financial burden to do these things. Quite honestly, we would have figured out a way either way, but it was such a blessing to have that benefit as well. So I think it was good for me to learn hear all the stories and from good to bad and in between. But we got training with Heather's group's help of how to speak to prospective donors and everything. And I've had one pairing so far. I'm hoping for more. I'm really proud of the program, but I also think it's really critical to get information out there. One of the things I did at my company, I'm not a terribly public person with these kind of things, but I think awareness is important. So we did a newsletter in the company bulletin and talked about organ donation and the benefits of it and things like that. And the more publicity we can get there, the more information that people know to go to the Kidney Foundation when they're looking for funding or ideas is all the better. So I think it's an awesome program. I thank everybody for it.